Good afternoon. Welcome back to our beautiful Luang Prabang Wildlife Sanctuary here at Bear House 5. We have a group of rescued female moon bears or Asiatic black bears, and they're just enjoying some berries. They have this lovely big forest habitat, so often we don't see them, but they've come in to just have a little afternoon treat of some berries at the moment. And in this group we have Paulie and Everon, Namet and Louis, Junie, Nut, and who else? I'm missing Coco, and Matt, Louis, Paulie, Everon, Butternut, Coco, Junie. That might be it, 7 bears. That's Paulie or Everon back there, who's just coming to have a look. Paulie! Paulie! I think it's Paulie. Someone's having a scratch. There's plenty to go round. She must have heard the slurping sounds. I think she was having a nap in the back and doesn't want to miss out. So these girls were all rescued between 2015 and 2018. 15, 16, 17, 18. So we've been rescuing bears in Laos for 22 years now. But it's really picked up the last sort of few years. Since about 2018, our government partners have increased their capacity to tackle the illegal wildlife trade. We've been doing a lot of relationship building with the government. We can't confiscate bears. We don't have the authorization to do so. So we work with the governments in Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. Paulie, Paulie. That is Paulie back there. And then we've got Coco. There's Paulie, right? Paulie.
Everon.
Oh, Everon, sorry. Everon's Paulie's sister.
Paulie.
Paulie's. Oh, Paulie's where? Let's go through them. So we got Junie.
Paulie.
Oh, Paulie's just right behind there, just having a look at us. So Junie on the left, Paulie at the back there. Then we've got Namet.
Namet.
Yeah, Namet, I got that right.
Sanda.
Sunda. Louis. So Namet and Louis are sisters. They have a pretty startling. So that's the sort of first and the third bear there, Namet and Louis, with Sunda in the middle. They had a sort of a firefight chase with the government from some poachers through a national park called Namet Pu Louis, hence the name Namet and Louis. Here comes Everon in the background, and then that's Coco.
Winnie.
Oh, Winnie Skylark. Winnie, so there's 9 bears in this group. It's tough for me to remember so many. But as you can see, they have this lovely area. We can't release these bears. They're all taken from the wild as cubs. Their mothers were killed by poachers. Then they were, reared in the sanctuary, and they didn't learn their survival skills from their mothers, and there's a lack of safe and protected forest. So they're stuck with us for life. And we just have to get in the best life we can. That's only possible thanks to your lovely donations. We're a small non-profit. We couldn't do it without you, so every dollar donated really does make a difference. And in fact, 2 of the bears in his group, so Everon here and Paulie, who's at the back there, they actually have been adopted by one of our lovely supporters. So that supporter covers the costs of Everon and Paulie. If you'd like to adopt and name a bear, we have so many bears that don't have names yet. Last year we rescued 30 bears in Laos, 34 bears in total, so it's just been nuts. See, Everon, I told you there's plenty to go around. So actually moon bears and sun bears are solitary in the wild, but we have to, as I said, they can't be released. So we have to form groups and just do the best we can. So the bears are all very intelligent. They all have very unique and individual personalities. And some bears just don't like all the other bears, so it just doesn't work in a group. So we just have to introduce them in the dens and see which bears are going to get on. And then once we've got a cohesive group, together like these girls, every now and then there's a bit of a growl. if there's, especially over things like food, you know, sometimes someone's just in a bad mood and having a bad day. I heard a growl from back in the enclosure here somewhere before, so someone's probably having a sleep and someone snuck up and they're just saying, leave me alone, I'm having a nap. But it's generally just a growl. It doesn't result in any sort of injury. Look at you, everyone, aren't you pretty cute? And this is Ginny. We've got two bears in this group who have very, very large chest markings. One of them is Butternut. It's a huge chest marking. It's like a whole bib, like a you know, like she's going to a black tie dinner. And then Junie here, she also has a huge chest marking. Hers is very unusual because it's a golden color, like a sun bear color, and she has a lot of spots on it. It's very beautiful. I think you can ask me questions on YouTube Live, although nothing's popping up. But if you do any questions, let me know. We're doing lives on YouTube now because we used to do them on Facebook and Instagram, but they don't seem to want to have them. So yes, I like to do lives just to give you a real look into exactly how life is at the sanctuary for the bears, rather than, you know, a curated, edited video, which can be, you know, good at times, but also I think you get to see exactly what's happening. This is the sanctuary. We've got a gibbon habitat behind us. In Cambodia and Vietnam, Free the Bears just looks after and rescues sun bears and moon bears, which is, you know, that's, you know, we're Free the Bears. But in Laos, we rescued sun bears and moon bears, and then our government partners said, hey, when we go to confiscate bears at times, there's other animals there and there's no other place to take them. So can you help us with some other species? And so this sanctuary is our only sanctuary, which is a multi-species sanctuary where we have other animals rescued. So here we have a couple of endangered gibbons. We have a boy, Don. He's a, we think, northern white-cheeked gibbon, which is a critically endangered species, which means, you know, they've got an extremely high risk of going extinct in the wild. And then Gail is a little female. She's a southern white-cheeked gibbon. So she's also dark color, but she'll eventually turn a blonder color. So the gibbons are born, this species born yellow. And then at a couple of years old, they turn dark color, this dark black color. And then once the females reach sexual maturity, they turn blonde again, a golden color. Gail, you gonna come and say hi? Gail? Yeah, you can see her there. And your big yawn. So, they were both apart, singles, and then we rescued another tiny baby gibbon. And we collaborate with the only other rescue centre in the country, Laos Conservation Trust for Wildlife, and they had another baby gibbon. So they said to us, because we rescued this baby in the very south of Laos, and they said to us, why don't you drop off your baby to us? And because we've got another baby here, and the babies can be raised together, provide comfort for each other. And then why don't you take Don, because he's alone and doesn't have any friend, and he can meet Gail, and they can have some companionship. And it was a great partnership between two conservation organizations, and a great outcome for the of course the two animals. So Baidi saw a comment there. Hi, Richard Johnson says, great to hear you and see the beautiful bears. Elizabeth says, well done to all. So actually here we have what we built as a primate field. So it was built for the monkeys, but we have so many rescues coming in that we had to put some young male bears in here and sort of adapt it. And the reason I've come over here is because we've got a young male here called Morris, and many of our die-hard supporters will remember Morris because he came in as a tiny cub, and there was no cubs at the time, so he got a lot of attention, and we had to do some hand teaching of how to sort of climb and things like that. Normally we just let the cubs do it, help each other. So Morris is a lovely boy. He's also very interested in humans and friendly because of that. So we haven't seen Morris for a while. He's just having his dinner. Morris is very easy to tell because he's got a big stripe down his nose. So we only have one other bear in Cambodia like Morris with a big stripe, and that's Angel. She's also got a chest marking that looks like angel wings. But we haven't seen Morris for, I think, for about a year, because we just focus on other areas. So here's a nice chance for you to say hello to Morris, and look, someone's trying to eat the banana out of his mouth. But these boys are, what are these boys, around about 4 years, so they're not cubs anymore. They're pretty big, actually, pretty big bears. Look at the size, but they still, they're not at the difficult teenage years, or it happens around 6 to 8, where they can get quite aggressive and change personality. Not all, only some. And some of them can be difficult teenage boys. Otherwise, they just like to play and have a wrestle and fun. As you can see, it's all fun. It's all fun until someone plays a little rough. But we in this age group, we very rarely have any sort of injuries. Just maybe some superficial scratches. Hello, Morris. He's a very, very handsome and lovely, friendly boy. Okay, I just thought you might like to have a quick look at some more of the bears that I haven't covered in the past. Richard says, I love the way you help all wildlife in need, Rod, but what do you think the future will be for wildlife and the planet? I remember seeing, Richard remembers seeing Morris when he was small. That's awesome to see, awesome to hear. Thank you. What do I think the future for wildlife? So here we have some macaque enclosures for rescued macaques. These are species called pigtail macaques. They're the same IUCN classification as the sun bears and moon bears, which is vulnerable to extinction. So the classification is vulnerable, which means they have a high risk of extinction in the wild. They're a lovely species of macaque, really smart, quite friendly, willing to take on an orphan baby, quite loving. Yeah. Okay, so Elizabeth says, how is Rose? Took her hours to leave a rescue cage and all. Rose the monkey, Rose the bear. Which Rose? Which Rose do you speak of, Elizabeth? In answer to you, Richard, we just have to stay hopeful. As difficult as things are, as hopeless as they sometimes seem, and we're in this beautiful mountain valley in Laos, as hopeless as they seem, you just have to keep hopeful. Every bear we rescue is a victory, even though they will be, they are captive and we'll have to look after them for life, but they have a pretty good life here. And who knows in the future, if forests are protected and they need to be restocked with bears, where bears once were but are no longer, then these may be the parents of future cubs that ensure the survival of the species. So you hear that clucking sound, that's one of the moon bear vocalizations. It's generally sort of thought to mean sort of, hey, just to let you know I'm here, don't mean you any harm, sort of like hey friend in moon bear, hey pal. G'day, we'd say in Australia, or oi. Yeah, so we just stay hopeful. We just have to, we see horrific things. We see bear cubs for sale every day on social media, on Meta, on Facebook groups in Laos. We see a lot of other endangered species for sale. We try to act upon that, or try to inform the government and see if they're able to, but it's really difficult. Things just disappear. We see forests disappearing all over the world. We just have to hope that the movement to preserve the forests increases. Yeah. Hello Jeannie. You just got to stay hopeful and just keep working hard and doing the best you can. That's all we can do as a small charity. I think people sometimes think that we're this massive charity. No, we're not. We haven't got massive amounts of funds or space. We've got a small tiny team and we just do our best. And for all of our supporters, I'd just like to say a huge thank you. Everything we achieve is thanks to your hope. When you see these bears so happy and content and free from the pain and the suffering and being in a cage and bashing their head against the cage, or having open sores or malnutrition, or their fur orange from being so malnourished. And I hope when you see them so healthy and happy at a sanctuary that that's because of you. That's because of we work hard, but it's also everything we achieve is thanks to your donations. So I just want to thank you very much for that. Anyway, this is going to be my last broadcast from Free the Bears. I am finishing up with Free the Bears after 8 years. I have had an incredible 8 years, so many incredible memories. We've achieved so much during the time that I've been with Free the Bears. Free the Bears is 30 years old, and I've known Free the Bears for pretty much all that time, but I joined them in the end of 2017, and I was always been amazed at what they have achieved. When I joined Free the Bears, I was even more amazed at what they achieved with such a small team and such limited resources. Anyone who's visited our sanctuaries know how limited our resources are, how few people we have. But Free the Bears is one of those charities that punches way, way, way above its weight. So I'm really proud of everything I've done. I'm proud of everything the charity's done, and I've enjoyed every single moment. And I hope you enjoyed supporting Free the Bears, and I hope you'll continue to do so, because it really is an amazing organisation. No? I hear someone a bit grumpy over there. Oh, they're just talking to each other between the. So we got an enclosure next door with 3 lovely girls that were rescued all last year, and they're just having a little run along between the fence line and having a look at each other. I'm sorry, I'm not going to zoom because it's difficult to zoom with YouTube Live, but that's fun to see. And a little talk to each other. Okay, if there's no more questions, I am going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your incredible support of these beautiful creatures. And we might just go for see if we can have a close-up of Junie to say goodbye. Junie. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one. Thank you for being bear carers. Look after yourself, stay healthy, stay happy, and I hope, if ever you're faced with any challenges or adversity in life, or, maybe channel these bears who have been through such horrifying things in their life. Most of them would have watched their mothers killed by poachers and traded and kept in a cage, and they're able to just, like all animals, live in the moment, brush it off, and learn to enjoy and trust and love again, and live healthy, happy lives. So I wish you all the best and of health and happiness and joy in your life and love. Thank you so much. That's me signing off. So have a good one. Enjoy. Bye-bye.